Well, good morning, everybody. I hope you've all had a really good weekend and are ready for another week of learning. We've lots of celebrations today, so here we go. First up is from Madame Scott and Mrs. Khan, and it's for Ella in For Hawking for her French story about a football-playing turtle, and also for using science to test how sound travels and find a way to chat when there is no signal on a mobile phone. What a great idea. Also to Aaron for working so hard and for his amazing poem. And to Tyler H for entertaining Mrs. Khan with facts about a skink, which I know she mentioned in her own assembly on Friday. Well done, everybody. Also in Mrs. Khan's class, a celebration for Krishna. It comes from his parents for writing a lovely story called Anansi and the Birds. And he's used great vocabulary and punctuation and has made a great effort with his presentation of his work. Well done, Krish. These are from Madame Scott, and they're for children in Year 3 and in Year 4. For Thomas in 3 Usavsai, who has researched the work of Henri Rousseau and created his own piece of work, which I think Madame Scott did show people in her assembly. Look at that. I think that's beautiful. Well done. For Henry in For Hawking for creating a triorama and a description of animals and their habitats. And for Alex in 3 Pankhurst, who's learnt all of her body parts in French and labelled her own skeleton. Well done, everybody. Now, these are for children in Year 1 from Mrs. Sarosi and Mrs. Slapford. In geography, they've been learning about the layers of rainforests and the animals that live there. Ravi has completed the extra challenge and explained why each animal lived in each layer. E.g., anteaters live in the forest floor layer because they eat ants, and that's where the ants live. Well done. And also in English, they've been creating their own imaginary rainforest animals. Raman created a meat-eating venomous mammal. His handwriting is also excellent. Here's some work from the Year 1s. I think that's the meat-eating venomous mammal. Great, well done, everybody. We've had some work sent in from a parent. It's Joseph in Mrs. Stringham's class, and his mum says he's been working really hard and wanted to share some of his work with Mr. Palmer. Thank you. What has he been doing? Well, he's been doing lots of science experiments, some in the garden, which is a great idea. And also, he's just started some work on a Viking ship featuring a figurehead, a trade route map, and the model of a ship. Well done, Joseph. So here's the start of his work on the Viking ship. That's wonderful. And here's a lovely picture of Joseph in his garden doing a science experiment. Thank you for sending those in. Who's this? Who's this here? Oh, this is in Miss McComb's class for Rayon. Also from his mum, who said it would be really happy if he'd be really happy if Mr. Palmer could show his story in the assembly, which is brilliant. And also, he put the story into a PowerPoint presentation, which I've seen, and that is brilliant, Rayon. Well done. Here's the story, taken straight from the PowerPoint, beautifully set out with pictures, fantastic description, and wonderful presentation and handwriting too. Well done. Okay, celebrations from nursery. The staff in nursery would like to say how well the children have settled into their new routines. And Mrs. Grimwell said the children might have mentioned their aeroplane arms, as this is how they are explaining the distance they need to keep from each other. And I've seen that. Well done in nursery. They'd like to give a special mention to Zoe and George, who are always taking part in nursery activities happily and enthusiastically. And also to Jasmine, who has been sharing her home learning. She has made a super ladybird and tortoise. A tiny little picture there, look. Fantastic. Well done. Right, what have we got here? Right, we've got some year one work. We've got a piece of artwork created by Luana, and it's about the big five, which are animals in Africa, I think, and we'll show you a picture of that in a minute. Well done, Luana. For Mesa, who has independently written numbers from 1 to 100, very neatly. And also Josie, who has written her own piece at Last Story and has included expanded noun phrases, similes, and onomatopoeia. Wow. Here's their work, everybody. There we go. Numbers 1 to 100. And there, wonderful picture of, I think it's a leopard. Right, who is next? We have got another celebration from Miss McComb, and it's for Lewis, and this was sent in by his mum. Lewis has really done a wonderful story. He's also been working really, really hard at home. Here's Lewis's story. Wow, Lewis, look at your handwriting. All joined up as well. Well done. There we go. And that's it for celebrations this week. Well done, everybody. I look forward to getting some more next week. Now, as you know, each week I'm also going to talk about the inspirational people we have named our classes after. So far, I've talked about Martin Luther King Jr., Julia Donaldson, Tanni Grey Thompson, and also Nelson Mandela. This week, I'm going to talk to you about Stephen Hawking and Jesse Owens. We have named one of our Year 4 classes after Stephen Hawking. Stephen Hawking was born in Oxford in 1942. He enjoyed maths and science at school, where he earned the nickname Einstein. He wanted to study maths at university, but Oxford didn't have a maths degree at the time, so he chose physics and chemistry instead. Stephen found the college coursework very easy. He enjoyed being a member of the school's boat club as well as classical music. After graduation, he went to Cambridge to study for his PhD. While he was working on his PhD at Cambridge University, he began to have health issues. His speech became slurred and he became very clumsy, often dropping items and falling for no reason. After going through a series of tests, doctors discovered that Hawking had a disease called ALS. At the time, the doctors said he had only a few years to live. Although Hawking was initially depressed about his diagnosis, he decided that there were things he wanted to accomplish in his life. He began to study and work harder than ever before. He wanted to earn his PhD before he died. Around the same time, he met and fell in love with a girl called Jane Wilde. Between his work and Jane, Hawking had a reason to live. Despite the initial grim diagnosis, Hawking lived a full and productive life, and with the help of science and modern medicine, he lived a long life. Although he was confined to a wheelchair and could not talk for much of his life, he was able to communicate using a touchpad computer and voice synthesizer. Stephen spent much of his academic work researching black holes and space-time theories. He wrote many important papers on the subject and became a noted expert on relativity and black holes. Perhaps his most famous theory was one that demonstrated that black holes emit some radiation. Prior to this, it was thought that black holes could not get smaller because nothing could escape their enormous gravity. This radiation from black holes has become known as Hawking radiation. Stephen also enjoyed writing books. In 1988, he published A Brief History of Time. This book covered modern subjects on cosmology, such as the Big Bang and black holes, in terms that could be understood by the average reader. The book became very popular, selling millions of copies and remaining on the Sunday Times bestseller list for 4 years. He has since written many more books, including A Brief History in Time, On the Shoulders of Giants, and The Universe in a Nutshell. He also has 3 children. He's been seen on several TV programs, including the shows The Simpsons and The Big Bang Theory. He's also co-written several children's books with his daughter Lucy, including George's Cosmic Treasure Hunt and George and the Big Bang. He received the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2009. Stephen did not let his physical challenges stop him from being incredibly successful. When he was at university, the doctors thought he wouldn't live long enough to complete his studies. Stephen died in 2018 at the age of 76. People often say that you can do anything if you put your mind to it. I think Stephen is an example of how true that can be. We have also named one of our Year 6 classes after Jesse Owens. Jesse Owens was one of the greatest athletes in the history of Olympic sports. His exploits in the 1936 Olympics will go down as one of the greatest sporting achievements of all time. Jesse Owens was born in Oakville, Alabama in 1913. He grew up here with his 10 brothers and sisters. When he was 9 years old, his family moved to Cleveland, Ohio. Jesse discovered early that he was faster than the rest of the kids. In middle school, he had to go to work after school to make money, but his track coach, Charles Riley, let him practice before school. Jesse said that the encouragement he got from Coach Riley went a long way in helping him to succeed in track and field. Jesse first showed the world his athletic talents at the 1933 National High School Championships. He tied the world record in the 100-yard dash at 9.4 seconds and the long jump at 24 feet, 9.5 inches. Whilst at college, he won 8 individual championships in 2 years. At a 1935 Big Ten track meet in Michigan, Jesse had perhaps the greatest set of track and field events in the history of track. In just 45 minutes of competition, Jesse tied 1 world record and broke 3 world records. In the 1936 Summer Olympics, which were held in Berlin, Germany, the world was changing. This was the time when Adolf Hitler had gained power with his Nazi party. But before World War II had broken out, part of Hitler's philosophy was the superiority of the white race. He expected Germans to dominate the Olympic Games. Jesse Owens, however, had his own chapter to write into history. Jesse won 4 gold medals in the Games, including gold for the 100-metre sprint, the 200-metre sprint, the 4 times 100-metre relay, and the long jump. After the Olympics, Jesse returned home. He had a tough time for the next several years. Things turned around for Jesse when he was appointed a Goodwill Ambassador for the United States government. He was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 1976 by President Ford. The Jesse Owens Award is given out annually to the top track and field athlete in the United States. There have been 2 US postage stamps, one in 1990 and one in 1998, in honour of Jesse Owens. And the track and field stadium at Ohio State is called the Jesse Owens Memorial Stadium. Jesse Owens is an example of an inspirational person. He was someone who pursued his dreams despite having many obstacles in his way. I saw a programme this weekend about Arthur Ashe. Arthur Ashe was the first black person to win the Wimbledon Tennis Championships. Arthur grew up in the segregated America you may remember me talking about when I spoke about Martin Luther King Jr. In the programme, Arthur remembers when he couldn't enter a tennis tournament in his local town because it was for white people only. Also in the programme, the great champion Serena Williams said that it is because of Arthur Ashe that she has been able to be so successful. Sometimes the things we do, the words we say, and the actions we take can have a significant impact on other people. Sometimes this can change people's lives, and sometimes it can make them better. What can you do today to make somebody else's life better? I hope you all have a great week. And remember that on Friday at 10 a.m, your teachers will be sending you another message from their classes. So remember to tune in at 10 o'clock on Friday. Until next Monday, bye-bye.